right. Rule number 9.
Rule 9. Assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't.
Yeah.
Boy, is this a hard one, especially.
Yeah, I think I'm taken back by this one. A lot of people might say it's one of my flaws, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I get that too.
I tend to know a lot of things.
Yeah.
But, you know, not trying to feed my ego or anything, but look them up online. I'm pretty sure you'll find out what I'm talking about. However, you know, this just comes from the whole thing too about like the teacher and the student.
Yep.
Right? The student's there to learn from the teacher, but many times the teacher has something to learn from the student too, man.
If you already think you know everything, you'll never learn anything else new.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't teach a man who knows everything.
Epictetus.
Yeah.
2,000-year-old philosopher.
Well, you know, I think this kind of brings, I mean, he goes into a lot of things too in this chapter that I like too.
Yeah. This one's a touch ambiguous a little with the rule title versus a lot what he kind of talks about.
Well, I mean, a lot of it leads up to, like, I mean, I know he talked about the memory stuff, but that's all part of learning, right? Memory is a part of learning.
And that's the thing. I liked what he had said here with the memory. Memory is not a description of the objective past. Memory is a tool. Memory is the past guide to the future. And then he goes on, it's not to remember the past, it's to stop the same damn thing from happening over and over. Like, that's a good thought of your memory.
You know, and yeah, I guess he goes a little bit off to the left field with that, but that's all part about listening.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, he goes into the other techniques and stuff, but I mean, he even talks about like the flashbulb. Does he talk about the flashbulb moment? Or
no, that's something I was talking about, like where he starts to talk about how our memory, we you know, it's not this snapshot in time, and that we an exact record of what happened. You know, and that's how we feel that like, I'm 100% certain this is exactly how it went down. That's how we feel about our memories, but they're not that. They're just a part. Like, there's this thing called the flashbulb moment. So like some like big either something, your child's born, or like it's a big tragic event. Like there's this one of the, I guess the bigger studies was after September 11th. Is like, this is a great opportunity right now to study a vast majority of people across America. Everybody understands what happened September 11th. Everybody's got some memory. So they asked them a bunch of questions. Like, it was like 3,000 people or whatever. They had asked the same questions, like, where were you? What were you doing when you heard, and all this stuff. So then they, a few days after, whatever, maybe it was a week or something like that, after September 11th, they had asked all these people, and they had them write it down with their own handwriting. They had told them what they were. I was in the kitchen, I was washing dishes, and then I had got a phone call from my sister, and she told me. And then it's like, so then the next year they asked them, okay, so what were you doing? And they told him, and the story kind of changed a little. That's okay. Yeah. And then they did the 10 year, at the end of the 10 years, 10-year anniversary, they'd asked them, here's what you wrote, and they're like, no, I know I wrote in my own handwriting. I was in the kitchen and my sister called me, but I was folding laundry and my dad called me. And that's exactly how it was, because that's exactly how I remember it. And I'm 100% accurate. So the point he's making is we got to understand that our memories, they change and they shift a little. And there's a lot to that. And there's a lot to understand in that. I don't really want to get into it. But understand that our memories are tools that are there to mainly help us stop doing dumb shit and learning from our mistakes. They're not.
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, like the whole memory thing, to me, that's part of listening.
Yeah.
Right? And I think what he's alluding to, like this rule, like, assume that the person you're listening to might know something, like, take it from the point of learning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, that's kind of where I think he was leading into the whole memory thing.
Right.
But it's amazing how most people don't even think, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, their memory of something, and it's like, you know, what they thought happened. Like some people, they don't even think in certain situations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, you know, and you can easily be, you know, subjected into memories like, oh, is that what we did? Is that how that kind of went down? Like, oh, and then that becomes part of your memory of that event. So yeah, you gotta be careful with that. And yeah. I don't want to get too far down the memory rabbit hole, but
that's fine. But I mean, just getting into the whole topic of thinking in general, right? Like he's got that, I don't know. I don't think this one is from him, but mental activity does not constitute thinking. Like I forget where you got that from.
That's from Bob Proctor.
Bob Proctor. I mean,
you may get that from somebody else, but that's where I know it from.
That's where you know it from, yeah. But then, like Jordan Peterson's quote: "People think they think, but it's not true. It's mostly self-criticism that passes for thinking. True thinking is rare, just like true listening. Like, you know what I mean? Just going on the whole like train of memory thought to the whole process about thinking, like this one and the same, right? Our memories are tools of doing things, right? And our thinking about activities, those are all tools that we have. You know, most people aren't engaging and listening and responding to a conversation. They're just responding about who they are,
or they're just waiting to interrupt you or for you to stop so they can get their thought in.
Right.
Like I just did.
Or we're going along those same lines though. It's like if it's a true conversation, if it's a genuine conversation that you're going to have with somebody, like there has to be that element, right? There has to be the elements of receiving information, which takes memory, by the way, right? And then from there, going on and thinking, right? Digesting that information so that you can respond and have an intellectual response to that person. You know?
Absolutely. And that's the thing he says in here I really liked was repeating back what the person has said.
Right. Yeah. That's
for you to clarify your thinking and what you heard. And then even further, it obviously could actually can and maybe even does help them clarify their own thinking by hearing it back from you.
Yeah, that's true. You know, sometimes when people speak, like they talk in broad terms.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Sometimes it's like, oh, you know what went down. And I'm like, no, I don't know what went down. Like, why don't you tell me what you're talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, or, you know, I don't know. We can go down that rabbit hole many ways.
Yeah, it's like, how far down the rabbit hole do we go in this one?
However, just that whole thing is like repeating back what you just heard is a way to help the conversation progress forward. You know? Again, it involves memory. It involves thinking, right? And then from there, it also allows you to be clear in how you communicate as well. You know?
I really think, the heart of this rule is listening. And there's like that technique, like even if you don't repeat back to them necessarily what they're saying, like maybe if you're working on it, it's a little awkward. Sometimes I think that feels to me like a little awkward, but in my head.
He was talking about Rogerian technique. Like that's a form of psychology. Like a psychologist wants to help you,
right?
You know, they got to clearly understand the problem. So that's kind of how the conversation between the patient and the therapist goes. But anyway.
But even have that in your head, like, let me get this clear what you're trying to say to me, you know, and internalizing what they're saying versus you waiting to respond or waiting to come back with something or, you know, waiting to, you know,
right,
do something else.
It breaks that initial, you know, instinct to just like fire back at people.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's times when amongst old friends when we get into like witty conversations when that fire back that's the conversation you're actually looking for. But
you need to be on it.
Right. But when you having a conversation with your wife about something that's going wrong in your marriage, that's not the type of conversation you want to have. You're not going to want that quick, witty, instinctual response. That's a quick way to get out the door. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's also a nice way to lighten the mood a little sometimes.
I do believe in pattern interrupts, but I do believe in getting your message across, you know. I think it's a good technique, and it's engaging, and it kind of helps you remember that the conversation is a two-way thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it is. But then, you know, then going back to the whole witty thing, and you know, and I guess this is stereotypical in male behavior, right, with hazing and stuff like that, where outsiders looking in on a conversation. I'm sure there's many conversations you and I have had, like people like looking at our conversation like, damn, that's like, that's below the belt, you know? But I guess
are they gonna fight? I don't know if I should call the cops or not.
But, you know, I guess for me, a recent thing, I don't know if you saw the remake of Baywatch, right? With Zac Efron, right? Like,
yeah.
That was hilarious, right?
Oh man, he was giving it to that guy. Like, oh man, that was
One Direction. Like, go pick up my stuff. Like, he's like, what? Like,
man,
he's just like razzing on him, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the old school. Like, give him a little, you know. Gotta razz a guy, especially when they're fucking up.
But again, like, that just comes back to the whole thing about this rule, right?
Yeah.
Assume that the person you're listening to might know something you don't. Like, you take a look in the mindset of Zac Efron's character in that movie. You know, through half the movie, he's like, oh, this guy's punking on me. He's clowning on me. He don't respect me. But in reality, that's not the case. Dwayne Johnson's character is trying to correct something. He's trying to tell Zac Efron in his own way. I mean, be it that it may, whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's amazing how your attitude of a conversation can actually change what that conversation is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because The Rock is trying to tell him, like, listen, man, like, you want to be a lifeguard, you want to be part of this team. You can't be out there fucking up when you're trying to save somebody.
Yeah. It's like, you're not a hero. Yeah. Like, we work together as a team to make this happen.
Yeah.
Not, you know, for whatever reason, wherever Zac Efron's character comes from, like, he just doesn't get that.
I forget what he, like, used to be or something. Like, as a
professional swimmer and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's what it was.
You know, whatever. But, you know, he had his problems, but, like, same. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't until the end of the movie when Zac Efron, like, finally figured out, like, damn, you know, he's right. And he's been trying to tell me something. I mean, he's been trying to tell me something that I needed to listen to a long time ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And,
like, that's kind of, you know, this was one of the things that makes that movie really good. It's like, yeah, it's funny, but at the end, like, it's like, okay, being truthful, right, about what's happening, right? Treating myself as somebody that needs helping, you know what I mean? Like, all these things going on. It's amazing. Again, the attitude in which you have a conversation with somebody, right? Actually listening to what they say, repeating it back. Like, if you have those conversations, like, the more conversations you have like that, I think that just resonates within you, makes you a better person.
It does. And that's, you know, I used to be, and I'm sure I still have those moments where,
we all do.
You know, it's like, man, I know this, or you ain't gonna teach me shit, bud. Like, in fact, you know what? Let me tell you something about this. But you know what I've learned is even though, let's just say you are an expert, or you're proficient in a subject, sometimes just listening to that person, you can get a different perspective on things, or you're just going to continue to reaffirm and reteach yourself about that subject. You're just going to get better at it. That more of that mastery, more of that practice leads to better mastery of those things. Or sometimes it's simple to you're just talking out the side of your ass, bud. I know that. I don't need to prove nothing to you. Everything's cool.
Right, but there's
good story. See you later.
Yeah. But there's always something that you can take away from that conversation. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you treat life for a continuous search of knowledge, like, and you engage in that conversation, you're going to learn something. If not, you're going to learn how to gracefully walk away from that situation. You know what I mean? Like, you can learn, you know, there's so many things you
learn that. Learn humility. Learn to just sit there and shut up and just like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. And give off a positive thing. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Just by making that one change in attitude about a conversation can just change your interaction with that person.
Absolutely. That's a good, I like that. That's good. I never put that together, but